Hello and welcome back to the Metropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. Midnight Sun has just come out last week, and I thought this was as good as a time as any to reboot some regular gameplay content on this channel. This is something we used to do back in the day. In short, how this is going to work is we're going to open up with a deck list that we generally build ourselves, explaining how it works, and then we're going to follow that with a couple of games on Jinteki.net that we're jamming out. This is something I want to do regularly, maybe once, twice a week, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully this lands well with you. And today we're opening with the Gunboat. This is a deck that I've built for Ob Superheavy Logistics, the new Weyland identity within Midnight Sun. So what this deck is actually very similar to a deck list we've played on the channel before. Just a couple days ago, we had our tabletop simulator Midnight Sun launch where we jammed some games with myself, Pat, and John. It's just the last video on this channel. And I was playing this Ob deck that actually didn't perform very well in the one game it played, but it was pointed out by Ma in the comments, I'm a bit confused at this timestamp. Why didn't you just win? And I didn't realize that we actually had access to an additional combo that I didn't consider, that we had lethal actually quite quickly on into the game, such as new cards. So this kind of spurred me on and I went back and revised the list. I think we've only changed 1 or 2 cards and we've come to this combo kill deck. So how this works is we're trying to kill the runner and we have 3 ways to serve up the 1 big meat damage card in the standard format, which is Boom. Boom is a double that costs 4 and it says that the runner has at least 2 tags, deals 7 meat damage. So much of our game plan is to make sure the runner has at least 2 tags. And we can do this in 3 different ways. The first way is Mutually Assured Destruction. This is the new champ card from Eric Keelback. And this is a triple. And we can use this to trash a bunch of our rezzed cards to give the runner a lot of tags. Now, the first way that we can get a boom to land is if we go ahead and trash 6 of our installed cards. Generally, runners can't clear more than 4 tags on their turn. And then hopefully we can survive for 1 more turn with our board being wiped and end up with a boom. Now, this is going to technically exist in just about any deck that's a Mutually Assured Destruction, but it is our least reliable by a mile kill package in this deck, just because having 6 cards that are rezzed is something that's actually quite difficult in this deck. This deck doesn't have a lot of assets that are going to stand around for a long time or a lot of upgrades. So we have to trash 6 pieces of ice, which means the runner has to be running a heck of a lot and we have to afford 6 pieces of ice. So something that's worth considering as a panic button, but not very reliable. Luckily, we have 2 other reliable ways to end up with kills, and they both rely around MCA Austerity Policy, a very explosive, technically, I guess, HP asset. This card, you have to charge it up. Every time you click it with the first ability, it gets a power counter and the runner gets 1 fewer click on their following turn. But if this gets to 3 power counters, you can click this to gain an extra 3 clicks on your turn. So we have 2 combos. The first combo starts with an MC Austerity Policy on your turn that's already fully charged up at the beginning of your turn. So it has 3 power counters, which means if you hit the bottom, use the bottom ability on this card, you'll have a 6-click turn. Now, because we're playing Ob Superheavy Logistics, which if you don't know how this works, is once per turn when you trash 1 of your installed cards, you can go find a card, install and res it from your deck for free, as long as its res cost is 1 fewer than the card that was just trashed. So the idea is that if we hit the MC Austerity Policy, we get 6 clicks and we just trashed a 1-cost card. So we can go search our deck for a Drago Ivanov and install and res it clicklessly, which means we have 6 clicks. So we can advance this 4 times and then give the runner 2 tags using Drago's ability. And then if we have a boom in hand, they're dead. So this combo requires us to have 8 credits, requires an MC Austerity Policy on the table with 3 power counters on it. And we have to have the boom in hand, which is actually not too hard. That is totally doable. This can happen a bit faster than you think it can. Now, the other option is technically a bit faster, but requires us having a bit more cards in hand. If you have an MC Austerity Policy starting your turn with 2 power counters on it, in the beginning of your turn, you can hit the top ability to get it to 3 power counters and then hit the bottom ability. So this makes you have only it's a 5-click turn. So you can't do any of the Drago shenanigans. But if you have 5 clicks, you can go ahead and play a Mutually Assured Destruction and trash only 2 of your res cards as necessary. So you can trash hopefully a piece of ice and then any 0-cost card that you can bring up with your Ob trigger after the Austerity gets trashed. And then you give the runner 2 tags. You have 5 clicks, 3 of them go into the Mutually Assured Destruction, 2 of them go into the Boom. And this is actually quite doable. Getting an Austerity Policy up to 2 advancements on the start of your turn and just having a boom and a mad in hand, that's what we're calling this, and 8 credits is actually quite doable. I think there's an argument that you want to consider putting 3 Mutually Assured Destruction in this deck just to make sure that you can get to that combo as fast as possible. But those are our 3 combos. To go through the rest of the deck really quickly, we're running as few agendas as we can. We don't have a really good plan to score out agendas in this deck. We don't have defensive upgrades. Our ice kind of falls off to the mid to late game, but we're just running the fewest agendas we can that are pretty reasonable. SDS drone deployment is a defensive agenda. It does require a program install. So in the early game, it's a bit safe. And if the runner has to trash one of their breakers, that can buy you some breathing room. Quite powerful, even if you score this sometimes. We have a send a message, which is just a 5/3. When it's scored, we get a res a piece of our ice. The economy in this deck isn't fantastic. I think the upper end of cards we can res are costing 5 credit ice, but getting our ice res is actually quite important for the mutually assured destruction combo, so we don't mind it. And finally, we have Above the Law, which is a 3/2 with a relevant ability. Well, we can score it out. We don't have Audacity, so we have to put it on the table, but not too bad whatsoever. The next thing to look at is the ice here, and the ice, building ob decks is actually quite fun because you care not only about what kind of ice you have in your deck, but the costs of the ice. Starting at the top, we have Envelopment at a 5 cost. This thing comes in with 4 end the run subroutines and a very tricky trash this ice subroutine. And eventually when this ice does trash itself, you can use your ob ability to go find any of the 4 cost ice in your deck and install and res them at no cost, which is quite powerful. I think Envelopment is kind of like a role player in this sort of deck. I was a bit nervous to play 3 of them just because that trash ability, if you fire multiple of them on the same turn, you lose your ob ability, but this allows you to get the 4 costs from your deck, which is quite good and is a pretty good face check. It does protect your austerity policy for just as long as you need it to. At 4 cost, we're looking at Border Control. Not much of an introduction has to be said about this card. This card is immensely powerful on its own. And now on top of it, with Ob's ability to fire when you trash this, to fire the end the run during a run, you can go get a 3 cost card from your deck, install it, and res it on the server that the runner is running. So if they run the Border Control, get through it, you end the run with the Border Control, and then suddenly you have an Enigma on the remote server. So they have to run back and still have a decoder. And because you can see what their board state obviously is, you can go find maybe a Fractor if they're missing a Fractor, or a Code Gate if they're missing a decoder. Immensely powerful, and you can start doing these like really aggressive tempo plays as opposed to like holding the Border Control for a late game, which we're not planning to get there. On 4 cost, we also have Mouseless, which are taxing cards. We generally put these on central servers. They don't really stop people from running their remote server, but are quite taxing at the cost. And then we have 2 copies of Savka, which is a new card. It's a bit trickier to pull this with your Border Control because where it is on the server, it depends. You need to end the run after this, but pretty mean ice. Its ability to trash an installed card could be relevant at letting us get an MC austerity policy a bit fast on the table, but on its own, a mean card they have to respect. On 3 costs, we're looking at a Maskarovka, just so we have 1 3-cost barrier if we need to search for it. Not too bad, and we can always trash this thing later if we need to, if it runs out of like value once the paperclip comes down. Then we have 2 Afshar, great on HQ, not too bad on the remote server, and then we have an Enigma, so we have some choices, I suppose. I guess some combination of Afshars and Enigmas is probably right, but I want a 3-cost Code Gate that ends the run. 2 cost is where things get really ugly. If you're not spending influence, 2 cost ice outside of Weyland and neutral is actually quite bad. Right now we only have a single white space, which is a pseudo end the run ice. I don't really love this. The face check credit penalty is not too relevant. In retrospect, I think I'd actually consider Formicary, a card that I don't really like. It gives the runner like a choice whether they want to take 2 net damage or end the run, and you generally don't want to give your opponent choices, especially because we can't capitalize on the net damage. But this card's actually really interesting in this list because it's a very easy card to res. If they run any server, you can consider moving and resing your Formicary, which means you get more cards res quicker, and specifically more 2-cost cards res quicker, which means that if you end up trashing them, you can get your 1-cost MCA austerity policy from your deck. So I'd actually consider this. On 1 cost, we have a single Ice Wall. I forget why this is here, just to have a barrier end the run on 1 if we need it. And we have 2 copies of Tithe, just so we have a 1 cost we can pull from our deck. I don't even think that's relevant anymore, how this list has turned out, but it's not too bad. Looking at the assets, we understand Drago and austerity policy. We're running some staples, 3 Spin Doctor for the draw and the recursion, fantastic. It's a 0 cost 2, so you can res a Spin Doctor after you pop your austerity policy if you're digging for your mutually assured destruction. Pretty wild. You have 3 Rashida because card draw and credits is good. And then we have 3 Regolith Mining License, which is a 2-cost card, is fantastic. It's a good econ card. And when this trashes itself, or you end up trashing it with a card like Extract, you can go get your austerity policy from your deck. And 2 costs in this deck are so important when we're trying to get an austerity policy on the table as soon as possible. So anything that with a 2 cost in the top left corner that trashes itself means you'll get your austerity policy as soon as possible. Fantastic. And on top of that, for the same reason, we have a Maryland campaign, a 2 cost that trashes itself and also goes back into the deck, which is quite nice. It's a bit cute, maybe not necessary, but for 1 influence, don't feel too bad about this. And then finally, operations, we've seen the booms, the mutually assured destruction. We of course have hedge fund because it's good. And we have sprint because we're a combo deck. to make us able to draw into the combo pieces we need and bury the agendas we have no intention of scoring. And then we have 3 copies of Extract. And I cannot tell you how good Extract is. This thing is so strong in op. Not only is it a 6 credit economy card, but you trash any of your 2 cost cards, your regoliths, your white space that's rezzed, your Maryland campaign, and then you get an austerity policy. So for a single click, you gain 6 credits and an install from your deck. That's immense. Let alone the flexibility that you can suddenly like you can extract a Tithe to go get a Spin Doctor to fix your hand, or you can extract like a barrier to go get a Code Gate if it's necessary. Very, very flexible card, all attached to a 6 credit economy card. This thing is such a powerful card in the op deck. And that's our deck right now. Currently, we have 3 ways to try and land kills. We're not very good at scoring agendas, but as long as we stick an austerity policy, we're in a good space. In terms of how the deck can work, there are some tech cards that I think are actually really well situated in the meta that really pull this deck apart. I think the biggest thing we're scared of is Pinhole Threading, a new 1-cost criminal card that just says, oh, your austerity policy behind 2 ice and remote server. That doesn't matter. I'm running Archives, taking it down. This card I'm terrified about. That's why we're running 2 austerity policies, just so if one comes down, we can maybe stick a second one. But that is definitely going to be an issue if people are playing this in Jinteki.net casual lobbies. On top of that, some other tech, no free lunch just came out. And I like these kind of like tech cards that have a bit more utility to them. If the runner keeps one of these on the table, we can no longer Drago them because they can always clear the tag on their turn. So we're kind of forced to do a mutually assured destruction play, which is totally reasonable. At that point, we have to trash at least 3 install cards if we're MC austerity policying, or even more if we're trying to do just the kind of brute force mad. On top of that, Stone Ship Chart Room is nice. If the runner keeps 5 cards in hand and one of these on the table, they can always clicklessly drop to 7, so Boom doesn't kill them. Mind you, Boom is the only meat damage card in the format right now, so you know 7 is what you need to survive, so that's pretty good. And of course, just regular cards like Citadel Sanctuary can be quite powerful, so watch out for that. On top of that, I think there's a consideration you could consider adding a 4th kind of Boom into this deck if you put in a hard-hitting news. I think you have the influence if you cut a Sprint and a Maryland, and I quite like both of those cards in the deck. I think it's a possibility, but it's also going to be very inconsistent because you can't draw the hard-hitting news with your Ob trigger. It's only for installable resable cards. But you do have actually some burst economy in this deck with Extract. You might be able to catch some runners off guard. But that's it. That's the Ob deck. What's going to follow is the couple games that we jammed on one evening on JNet. Of course, this is a new series that we're putting up. So if you have any feedback about this stuff, whether the explanation is too long, whether these videos are too short, too long, if you want something attached to this, let me know in the comments. Of course, we want to make this as good and as approachable content as we can. So definitely going to be reading those. On top of that, the deck list is in the description below. So if you want to give it a shot on the JNet lobbies on your tabletop, have fun with that. But that should be it. Enjoy the games. Hello and welcome back to Metrunner Grid. My name is Andre. How's it going? Today we're playing some JNet, just in the casual lobby, trying out some of the new cards. I have some extra time on my hands, so I thought we could maybe get some gameplays in. We're playing as Ob, and this is a combo kill deck. We have like 3 different ways. They're all Boom based to end the runner in tags. I think this deck is going to be a bit flimsy. We don't really have a good way to score agendas. It's all about the kill. Opening hand has 2 agendas. That doesn't seem good, so I'm just going to go ahead and mulligan it. And we're playing against world champ Limes, who's trying out Captain Padma. Let's see how the boat goes. Just to see what you've come up with. I'm still too scared to attempt an Ob deck. This is quite early on. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Best of luck, have fun. So we have a couple ways to kill. 2 of them have to do with basically getting an MCA austerity policy to stick on the table, and then using that to have additional clicks to either use Drago Ivanov to get enough tags to stick to boom somebody, or to be able to do a mutually assured destruction and still have 2 clicks left over to boom. So let's see how this goes. I think early game, we're going to keep the Rashida, and we just want to jam that out early. I'm assuming Captain Padma, we want to ice up R&D just so they're not getting free power counters. That would be pretty bad. But I think getting Rashida is going to be one of the better things we can do. Mind you, we're playing Ob, which is a new identity. It has a lot of text on it, but in short, the first time a turn when we trash, or I think once per turn, excuse me, that we trash a card, we're allowed to find a card from our deck and install it and res it, as long as its cost is 1 less than the card that was trashed. So it's only good on resable cards. They're running the Enigma here. I like this. A lot of times the face check is not too bad. The Enigma honestly is a bit surprising in Weyland decks. I have to run enough 3-cost cards just to get a curve. So we're actually going to take a click off Limes, which is great. So it's not very likely that they can boomerang and run back now with only 1 click. Running HQ here. Afshar, we're a bit short, so they're going to run in. They can trash the boom. They can steal the what's it called? Okay, so now they know it's a kill deck. We do have to watch out if they're playing Misdirection, a Shaper card that allows them to clear tags at a huge reduction of cost, let alone clicks. That's going to be an issue. So we need to rush to that point. Okay, we drew a lot. We have an envelopment, which is all right. We don't really have anything to get our MCA austerity policy, let alone we do need another boom. Extract is a really powerful card. I think it's my favorite op card because it allows you to find things from your deck. So you can trash a 1 cost to go get a Spin Doctor. It allows you to trash a 2 cost to go get like an MC Austerity. But unfortunately, our hand's not very good. I wouldn't mind scoring out the Above the Law. It just threatens any sort of resources. But I think we can draw once here. Tithe, if we get that rezzed, not very good. But it's cheap enough thing to put on R&D, I suppose. So put that on R&D. We can put this on, probably this on server 1. Not that we can really afford it. But we're going to need some money. So hopefully we're going to extract something, gain 6 credits, probably trade our Enigma for a 2 cost card and go from there. There's a pad tap. That's okay. Hopefully the game is over before the money actually matters. And there's a Drago. So this is actually a combo piece. We're kind of unfortunate to have drawn it because if we pop an MC Austerity and trash it, we can go find a 0 cost card like Drago. And if we have enough clicks, we have 6 clicks, we can advance this 4 times and then boom. So this is not a card that we really wanted to draw. Here we need to do something. With 5 credits, like, do you want to score an Above the Law? I don't really want to score agendas as much as possible, considering we don't really have a good plan to gain to 7. We really just need a combo out. So issue with our ability is only rezzed cards. So like, it's not really great to trash an unrezzed card. We could trash an Enigma to get a 2 cost installable. There's not a lot. I think it's like a Maryland campaign. I think we might actually just do that because we need money. And then we can put an Above the Law, maybe advance it once. So we'll trash this, install 2 costs from our deck. It's Maryland campaign or white space. Now white space, they can get through. It doesn't end the run, but it's not the worst. The other idea is to get a Maryland and keep that going in the remote server. And when the Maryland trashes, we can go get an MC Austerity policy, or if we can extract it. This is interesting. Regolith is also just good money. I think we might want to do the Regolith. This is a huge money play. I love this. Like not only do we get 6 credits, but then we get to hit the Regolith and it's rezzed, right? Like that's a big swing. We started on 4 credits and now we're on 16. Like that's kind of really cool. Admittedly, we did trade away our ice. Not that Enigma is good into the late game, let alone sometimes the mid game. So see what Limes is up to. Again, Limes is getting money off of our money. And I'm pretty sure they're going to play around hard hitting news. So they're going to keep the credits up. Okay, so if we hit this 3 times, on the last click, we can get an MC Austerity policy. So we're going to set this up so we can click this once, at least. So the next turn we can hit this once. Immediately if we hit this once, Limes gains 2, we gain 3, which is not great. So we can sprint back in our Drago. And probably an agenda. We want to keep the Drago in the deck just so that we have a combo potential. And here we have a barrier. Putting a code gate in front of that would be nice. This doesn't end the run, which is unfortunate. The Stavka will be pretty good. So we can put that on server 1. And if we hit this once, we gain 3, they gain 2. It's more about actually just emptying this. Because once we empty this, we're going to be able to get an MC Austerity because this trashes and then we can get a 1 cost from our deck. So we can get an Austerity there. We're really weak to pinhole threading, which is kind of just a problem if you're relying on an MCA Austerity policy deck. Oh, there is that pinhole threading. Damn. Okay, cool. So this is going to come down for 3 credits. Now, because they trash it, we're not doing the trashing, so we don't get our ob trigger, but at least that pinhole is down. We have a Stauka there. Okay, we could consider jamming out an SDS drone deployment. Doesn't feel great. This only trashes installed programs, so if they install an Endurance, we're not going to be able to do much with it. We could also install advance Above the Law. Pulling down a pad tap is not amazing. Yeah, it's certainly not great, honestly. But it could force them to run, which is nice. Because even if they like get this, I kind of want them to steal this, honestly. We have Safka into envelopment. Unfortunately, these are like 2 trash abilities if we use this to make a 7 strength. Which is not great because then if they let the envelopment trash, we don't get our ob trigger. Cool. SMC Dirty Laundry. Just a Tithe. They have nothing to put a power counter on here. Tithe is just annoying enough. I don't actually know what they'll do if they pull out. I don't think they pull out something here. A lot of times they can just let this fire. Maybe they'll put out a revolver. But this doesn't seem too bad. So let's hope we hit something good. We hit a pad tap fires. We hit an after image though. So it looks like a stealth list. Kind of a surprise. And now they can pull that out. So they're going to get it arc locked down. And now they're going to get an axis here. And the after image is on the table. 21 credits at the Dirty Laundry. Rashida gets trashed off the top. Drone deployment means, though, we can take this down. And we drew into another drone deployment. So I guess we are just going to score this out. Trash the after image. I feel like the white space is probably the least good card here. to frown. Sorry. After they reinstalled it, because they're playing around Arc Lockdown, I'm assuming. The reason they simul-chipped that back, because they did already trash the program with the self-modifying code, so they might as well put the after image back. So now they know we're on big agendas. You don't often see the SDS drone deployment. Oh, that's a huge issue. So now our combo plan, we basically have to kill them on the same turn. So we can't do like a mad and then wait for a turn. We have to basically hit them in the same turn that we give them the tags. So I don't know if we're actually going to score out. We just might score out. They can't really get to the Stavka unless they get another simul chip or they have something cute like a boomerang or an endurance. So we could go install advance. Again, we're kind of bleeding money here, but we're not drawing into any of our combo pieces. We weren't able to get down to MCA from our deck. We have 2 and 30 cards right now. So go install advance. Yeah, I think we're just going to try and push here. And just getting us on the table, even if they don't intend to use it, it's a nice thing so they can deal with SDS drone deployments. Our deck has, I think, 7 agendas. We're looking at 3 drone deployments, 3 send a messages. And it looks like we're going to get the drone deployment. Wow. And there's the mutually assured destruction. This card is really powerful, but your ice has to be rezzed, or the cards you're trashing have to be rezzed. It doesn't have to be ice, which when people don't run, I find this to be a big issue. Hey, cat. Advance, score out. We're now on game point. We don't have an audacity. Again, we did not expect to be able to score out on points. So here it's either trashing the mantle or the misdirection. They have 20 credits. So I feel like if we're going to kill them with combo, if we're going to kill them with a tag, we're going to kill them through a combo. So I don't care so much about the misdirection. We don't have hard hitting news. Like if they're getting tags, it's because we mutually assure destruction. And if we have an MC austerity policy, hopefully we can end them in the same turn. What do we want to get rid of? Sentries seem pretty good. We haven't seen a fractor yet. I think I'm going to get rid of the Afshar. Only 8 credits. Mind you, they can always run to the Tithe to gain a power counter, potentially. They haven't used Padma's ability yet, mind you. We haven't seen any power counter cards. There's an Emker, quite powerful. And Hedge Fund is just good enough. It's 4 credits for us, 2 for them. But we can, in theory, install above the law. If the development does trash, we can pull a border control, which means they still have to run back through Stavka into border control, which is quite nice, technically in the other order. So I'll do Hedge Fund, we'll install. For this, we need 5, 9, 10, 11, 12 credits, which is enough. So installing the border control here doesn't really make a lot of sense because we can't afford it. But if the development, if this triggers the end of the run or they trash the ice subroutine, they're going to have a problem because the border control can come down. And we know that there's sentry breakers in the bin. So that's a Penrose. Also breaks barriers the turns as installed, right? So that's quite good. But we're going to res the Stavka here. We don't actually have to do the trash subroutine thing. We don't have to do any trashes. In theory, we could trash the Tithe to be able to go find like a 0 cost card. I don't think we need to. They only have 1 click left and the development's going to end the run. So we don't have to use this. So I think we can just fire. So here we're firing. They did their boost just because they might as well. So we're going to trash this. Oh, technically not what I wanted to trash. This is the most important trash. They can choose to continue if they like. They will. So we're going to continue to approach ice. We're going to res. It's an envelopment. Gets 4 power counters. Our first power counter card we've seen. And is going to definitely end the run here. Limes has 1 click left. So we're going to just fire the end of the run here. And we have 3 credits. Looks like we're just going to score to 7. I didn't think that would happen. But we got some good hits. We did a lot of program destruction. So that is just going to be it. Above the law scored. We're going to take down that pad tap. Never trash the pad taps. That's a fast game. All right. Let's see if we can get a combo out. Good game. I wasn't expecting to score out and draw any of their combo kill pieces. When all you have is agendas, huh? Yeah. I was hoping for the boat. I have no doubt that they have an endurance in there. Yeah. Boat would have been good. Yeah, we did not ice up R&D, but they didn't really have anything to like go get to use the power counters. So we just jammed out and like we had a good remote server, right? Like Stavka into envelopment, like that'll do. Let's see if we can get the combo kill out. We saw like none of the pieces. Hey, thanks for the game. All right, we're out here trying to get some more combo kill with our Ob deck. We're playing against Adam. Adam is going to start with 3 directives. I don't think we're going to see any surprises what directives they're going to start with. So we're looking at Find the Truth, which means they see the top card of R&D whenever they access, but we see the cards they draw. We're going to do Neutralize All Threats, so they have to trash cards that they access, the first one with the trash cost, but they see 2 cards from HQ. And of course, find Safety First. The maximum hand size is reduced by 2, but they get a free draw if they're underneath their hand size. Oh, cheers. That's very kind. So it can be interesting. If they get over big hand size, if they set up with their, what's it called? Their console, it's going to be hard to do a combo kill on them. Our opening hand Afshar for HQ is quite good. We have Spin Doctor to like draw up early to see something aggressive. Extract is a really nice combo card. We want to find MCA Austerity Policy as soon as possible. It's going to be a bit hard to stick one of them on the table against Adam, considering that Adam has access to a logic bomb. So it's hard to like rush early remote servers. That being said, border control on the remote server is quite powerful against Adam, because if Adam has the logic bomb and we end the run with border control, they're going to have no turn left. This is definitely a keepable hand. We're going to hope that we draw into something that's like a 2 cost that we could potentially extract. Like a Regolith would be good. The Maryland would be nice, and see how we go from here. So it's a kill combo deck. You might not have seen in the last game, but we have 3 different ways to give the runner a lot of tags. The technically simplest, but by far the least reliable, is by just playing Mutually Assured Destruction and trashing generally about 6 rezzed cards. We don't have a lot of assets or upgrades, so it's mostly ice, which is kind of difficult because that really depends on how long the runner is running for. And then they have to not be able to financially or be able to clear at least all the tags. So that's a problem. Otherwise, we have 2 combos when it comes to MCA Austerity Policy. Either if we do a full Austerity Policy and get a 6-click turn, we can give them 4 clicks with Drago Ivanov that we pull off of the Ob trigger by trashing MCA Austerity, and then we can boom them. Or we can just Mutually Assured Destruction off of a 5-click MC Austerity Policy and then boom off of that. So we have a couple options, but we need an Austerity to stick for sure. So let's open with Spin Doctor to give ourselves some options. It's always good to see as much as you can. Oh, looks like it's a bit of a delay, but no, we're good. So we don't have a big agenda scoring plan here. We have an above the law. This is Regolith mining. If we let it run down, it will eventually become an MCA Austerity Policy, or we could just like res it, click it, and extract it, which is quite nice. So ice up HQ because there is inherent HQ pressure, and we'll ice up server 1. Now R&D is still wide open. If they get down an early RNG key, they're kind of good to go. But even if they just like Dirty Laundry Archive, see the top of the deck, at least there's not a lot of agendas, and half of them require programs to be stolen with the STN drone deployment. So they're gonna have to install something first. We're going to try and keep track of what they're drawing. Again, we do see their hand. Oh, we definitely should have not iced up the envelopment. That's a mistake. We should have iced up a new server. I don't care if they trash a Spin Doctor here. And this is the server that we're going to be jamming the Regolith in it. All good. Yeah, that's definitely a mistake. We don't want to ice up the Spin Doctor. Opening up with a gamble. Again, while we are a kill deck, we don't care about hard-hitting news, econ warfare, stuff like that. So the credit differential is not that important. It does matter how much credits that they have, just because... oh, they have to trash the Spin Doctor. That's nice. At least we'll get something to pull back with the Spin Doctor. So that's 2 credits down. They have to trash the first card they access with a trash cost. But yeah, we don't care too much about their credits here until the point where we Mutually Assured Destruction if we have to. Okay, so Earthride's on the table. They threw out an Overclock, and we're going to draw a Mouseless off the top. Okay, so I think we consider just Regolithing down. We could Spin Doctor back to Spin Doctor in. Again, I wish we had a new remote server there. We can solve the Regolith. We can hit it twice. Probably good enough. Maybe Mouseless on R&D is also good. So yeah, we'll go ahead. Put this in server 1, res it, hit it, and then put this on R&D. There's an argument to not even hit this just so they don't know what it is and maybe kind of go ham on it. We only have 6 credits, so we can't actually res that much. In fact, the only thing we really want to res is envelopment. I don't know how big of a target this is going to draw. If they're really going to get the Regolith down, or they're just going to install a Pad Tap and wait. There's the Pad Tap. They have a Jailbreak in hand as well. They really want a Dirty Laundry or something here. There's not huge ways for them to get money on this board state. Like some of these decks are playing Liberated Accounts. Even the Telework contract would be pretty sick. But they want to get cards out of their hand just so they get the free card draw with safety first. Dreamnet's pretty good. Now they can run archives, draw cards, see the top of R&D. But we're running HQ here. So if we res the Afshar, we go down to 3 credits. They lose 2. Here we kind of just want to res. Like they see half our hand. If they steal the above the law, we feel pretty bad. It also denies a card draw. I'm going to res the Afshar here. Unfortunately, the subroutines don't actually rob any credits because they have 0 credits. Not the best. But they can't trash a Regolith, so this is the one thing that we want to protect. So they're running R&D here. We're short 1 credit on the Mouseless. The Mouseless res would have been disastrous there. Now they know we're on 3 credits, but if they stuck a tag, we'd take the time to wipe some of the directives for sure. 2 cards here. They can't trash anything. So even if they see a Rashida off the top, they'll be a bit disheartened. They do draw with a Dreamnet. They drew another Earthrise Hotel. So they're going to have to discard a card from their hand. I think the only card we know in there is Overclock, I think. Oh, Jailbreak, excuse me. Okay, so you're going to discard an Overclock. Speak of the Overclock. Okay. So we could consider just hitting this Regolith once then extracting to get value, and then jamming down the MC austerity policy. That feels pretty good because we're actually kind of close to the combo. We have a boom in hand. HQ seems safe. Their money is not doing very well for them. So I think we're going to do the cool op thing. So we're going to hit this. We're going to extract it for 6 credits. Then we're going to find a 1 cost from our deck, which will be an austerity policy. And then we have a click. So then we'll hit the austerity policy. So now they only have 3 clicks on their turn. And if this survives, I think we need it to survive 2 more turns if we don't draw into a mutually assured destruction, or 1 more turn if we do. So they draw into an endurance, a daily cast. Whoa, they're on endurance. So cool. Daily cast at the table. They click for 2 credits. They're going to have to discard a card. So we know there's a jailbreak and an endurance in their hand. And they threw out emergent creativity, which is probably a really cool way to get endurance down really cheap if you throw out other hardware programs or another copy of endurance even. Okay, so our game plan is about getting this to stick. We could consider sprinting here because if we draw into a mutually assured destruction, we can combo off 1 turn faster. We didn't, but that's okay. So we definitely want to hit this once. And we pretty sure they don't have a logic bomb yet. Interestingly enough, envelopment. Well, I think we're going to just do the border control in server 1. It's the best thing against logic bomb. So if we draw a mad, we can combo that next turn, if I'm pretty sure, a mutually assured destruction. Otherwise, we have to leave this for 1 more turn. Because we need to have a 6-click turn with the MC austerity policy. Because next turn we could click this and then fire it. So we'd be spending 2 clicks to gain 4. So we'd only be on a 5-click turn. So if we had a mutually assured destruction, we could trash 2 rezzed cards. So like we could res a Rashida or MCA and trash the Afshar. And then we could boom them that turn. If we draw the mutually assured destruction, we only have 2 and 36. Or if it sticks for another turn, we can click this and then next turn click it, the bottom ability only, and then just Avon boom for, I think it's 8 credits, right? Because 4 advancements, 4 for the boom. I don't think Dragov actually costs money to res, does it? I'm going to check real quick. I don't actually know. No, it's free. Sick. They got a lot of money down. Jailbreak. They drew the dirty laundry. They have the brain chip in hand, which is their console. Rashida in hand. Not too bad. I'm pretty sure they can't contest this remote server. They're going to be on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 credits. Money is going to be the issue right now. That's for sure. So I'm going to hit this. I'm going to put this in a new remote server. There's like a small chance that we could like gamble where we could pop this to pull a spin doctor and then hope that we draw into a mutually assured destruction. But that seems pretty unlikely. I'm going to install this in a new remote and just gain a credit. Now, if they do threaten this remote server, we can actually res the border control and the run and then still have 8 credits for the combo because we're set up to combo next turn. They could pinhole threading. They're instead going to run this Rashida, which they're going to see the top of R&D and they're going to trash the Rashida for a credit. They draw into and pat tap. Install me pat taps. They have 1 click, and I think we have the combo right here. I haven't done the combo yet, but this is pretty flashy, I think. There's 1 card that we could draw into that ruins the combo. If we draw into an Ivan Dragov here off the top of the deck, it's a 1 in 35. We can't combo this turn. If we draw into the Mad, we have other ways to combo. Okay, cool. So now we're off. So we just don't want to top deck Ivan. So that's enough. So we can trash this. We should have a lot of clicks now. We should have 6 clicks. So we can install and res a Drago Ivanov. We'll put in server 1. And now this is a card we can advance. So we're going to advance this 4 times. And then at an instant speed, we can use 2 hosted to give them a tag. 2 hosted to give them a tag. They say, oh no. And then we can just give them the boom for 7 meat damage. And that's a combo. That's one of the ways this deck can combo off. Nice. Yeah, that's a scary one. There's actually another combo. If we have a mutually assured destruction, we can do that 1 turn faster as long as we have 2 things to trash. And mind you, you can always pull the thing back with Drago. So that's not too bad. I think we might actually want to put a 3rd Mad into the deck. We only have 2. That's like, so that's just off of MCA. Yeah. MCA and 8 credits. You need the boom in hand. If you have a Mad in hand, you can do that a turn sooner. You just MCA Mad into boom. It'll work. It'll work. I think if you have any sort of tech, like if they put down a Citadel Sanctuary, if they keep their hand size up on 7, there's nothing we can do. But that'll get some people. All right. Ob combo kill. Let's try and get a kit down. Only 10 influence, a lot of code gates. That's true. It's going to be hard maybe to rush out. Kit got the new code gate. I think Hyperbaric is a really, really powerful card from Midnight Sun. So thanks. You too, Luke. Opening hand, not amazing. We have 2 code gates. It's kind of good to draw those a bit later because you can keep those on the outside to eat the kit ability. Mind you, Kit says the first time each turn you encounter a piece of ice, it's a code gate for the remainder of this run. Opening hand, the best thing we have is a spin doctor. Let's mulligan this. Okay, not great. double spin might be able to save us here. I'm not sure what an economy for that kit that could be. Hey, Nanako, she's rubbing my legs. We could stick maybe just a Maryland on the table, but let's try and draw at least a piece of ice. This sort of open, a spin doctor open never looks good. So this deck is all about sticking the MC austerity on the table. I think we can leave an HQ open. Your remote. I don't know if we're going to ice up the Maryland campaign. If we have an extract, we can always extract the Maryland for an MCA austerity, which is quite nice. R&D, leaving it open. I'm not too scared right now. We have one agenda in HQ. If anything, we should put the Rashida on the table, not the Maryland. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to undo that click. Because an early Rashida will give us the options we need. An early Maryland is only good if we get an extract. Maryland. Nice card in this deck. I can't find enough spots for this in terms of the influence, just because we have to spend like 2 austerities and the Drago. We might be able to play only a single austerity as long as we play like more 2-cost cards that we can res and trash. Beth coming down early is pretty good. So it looks like we're going to get no contest here. So that's a free Rashida. 3 cards, 3 credits is pretty great. And we want to overdraw here. It's not too bad considering that we are, of course, we have a spin doctor on the table, which is pretty good. It's either another Rashida or we can start putting stuff on the table. Now, don't really want to score any of these agendas out. We're going to discard a bunch of them, that's for sure. So I think it's either the Rashida for an MC austerity or an extract. I think we're going to do the Maryland in another remote, Rashida in the remote. How many cards do we have in our hand? We have 7. So if we put the envelopment on the outside, it's pretty good. We can discard 1 card here. They can steal a drone, no problem. I don't think they'll mind throwing away a Rozeki, so I think we're going to get rid of that. And maybe we're going to free res and envelopment for 5 credits would be pretty good. That's the higher end of our send a message in this deck. Daily cast coming down. Looks like they're just setting up. Hopefully the game doesn't go too long, that we can combo out relatively soon. If we draw an extract or an MC austerity, we're kind of off to the races. So they're going to do that. I think it was the daily casts. It's kind of hard to rush out. With 2 ice is a bit easier. Maybe we're going to see something like, what's it called? The Palangi. And then they can just Palangi code gate and run a 2 ice remote server. They also have Inversificator, which allows them to, I think, use a single program to get through everything. For that case, we have the envelopment on the outside, which is a bit awkward because they can coast that in. At least it's a lot of subroutines. And there's a misdirection, which is actually good. In theory, it closes one of our kill combo potentials. But as long as we get them and kill them on the same turn with an austerity policy play with mutually asserted destruction or Ivano, we'll be fine. There's our Drago Ivanov. We need to get that back into the deck. So I think we're just going to force the issue here. So I'm going to go ahead and extract this. We'll do the ob trigger to install 1 cost as an austerity policy and Super 2. We're really weak to pinhole threading, but 10 influence only goes so far, right? We'll shuffle the Maryland back into our deck. We need to get the Vaughn back into the deck, the Drago. I also want to draw a Mad, which would be quite nice. So I'm going to go and put another, we have 8 cards in hand. We do need ice up HQ because the boom kind of matters now. They're not like, doesn't look like they're setting up a Hushik just yet, so R&D pressure is probably pretty minimal. And if we click for, we could install the Spin Doctor and then discard the Vano, the Drago, which would be fine. Oh no, wait a second. Hold on, we have to hit this. What are we doing? Okay, so we'll get that back into the deck. Another boom is unfortunate. How many agendas do we have? I think we can throw out another agenda. That'd be the second agenda in there. Yeah, we can shuffle those back. Beth giving Luke 5 clicks. That's a lot. Hopefully we'll be getting 5 or 6 clicks soon. If we draw into a Mad, we can combo off in 2 turns. If we don't, we have to wait. We have to make sure that we get the Drago back into the deck with a Spin Doctor. So we have to prioritize getting a Spin Doctor on the table next turn. So we'll probably like austerity, install a Spin Doctor. And then figure out what do we draw? Maybe we'll ice up server 2 again. But Luke hasn't shown any breakers. This is not like they need more money than this if they want to put down breakers and contest the remote server. And they only have not 5 clicks, technically 5 clicks, but now back down to 4 clicks because of the austerity policy. And they threw out an endurance. So it looks like everyone is on endurance. No surprises. Very exciting. So we still don't have. I honestly think we might just put all the Spin Doctors on the table. Just so that we can like maybe draw into our Mad. It's a 2 in 32, so 1 in 16, not amazing. Otherwise, if this sticks 1 more turn, we can get him with the Drago. But it needs to stick 1 more turn. So we have an ice wall. We can put the ice wall on the outside, but then if they like surf in with Inversificator, it's pretty bad. So we can put this on R&D. Border control on HQ is probably good enough. I'll just put this on R&D, but technically not necessary. It might actually be right to get another spin doctor on the table so we can mass draw next turn. We could draw 4. 5 with mandatory to find the mad. Because we draw mad, we win. I don't think they're going to play a meat damage tech. They could play a Citadel or something like that, but I'd be surprised. Not a card that often shows up in these sorts of licks. There's the Hyperbaric and the Plongi. So this is what we talked about. We have no way good to purge. So they can contest the remote server here. The question is about the credits. Because this envelopment is 5 strength, 4 subroutines. So that's a lot of boosting from the Hyperbaric. And if they let this fire, it allows us to pull a border control into the remote server. So this is a code gate. Hyperbaric, mind you, comes in as 1 strength. So just to get to strength, it's going to be what, a lot of credits, like 8 credits. And then there's 4 subroutines, technically 5. You don't have to break the last one. So we're just going to end the run here. And that's going to eat the kit trigger for this turn. So we're running HQ. They could trash some stuff here. We need to keep 8 credits for a combo. We can res the border control. This is a barrier because they've already hit this the first time. It's not optional. So we're going to fire the subroutines here. Oh, they could technically go through if they want with Plongi. Yeah, they will. And if they steal the send a message, I don't think we're too upset because then we can res this border control. Hit a boom. They can trash out for 1. We do need to keep 1 in hand. Mind you, if we really were like worried about it, we could have res the spin doctor to add more cards to hand. Maybe that was worth considering. Oh, I think we just win. I think we just win. This costs 8 credits. We're short a credit. We're short 1 credit, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me think this through. So we need to trash 2 cards. So, and then we have to play mad into boom, and that's 5 clicks. So if we hit this and hit this, we're actually short 1 credit. There's nothing that we can pull with the MC austerity policy that's clicklessly credit positive. So yeah, we are just literally short 1 credit. Otherwise, we could hit this to load a counter, hit it again to trash it. So we'd have 5 clicks, and then we can mad 2 cards on our board, and then boom. But yeah, unfortunately, the border control, if they actually let us get the credit off the border control, they would have lost. That's pretty wild. I think we'll just hit this once. We might have a money issue here. We might have a money issue. So I think it's either click 2 credits or draw. I think we just click 2 credits because we can always draw clicklessly with the spin doctor if we want to. They're on 7. They got a credit with Beth. They only have 3 clicks this turn. They're probably feeling pretty good getting the boom out of hand. Draw. They have 1 click left to hit HQ here. Okay, wow. So it looks like we got it. So we can do the Drago play. We've done that one before, so let's just show off another combo here. So we're just going to go ahead and crash this. We can get a 0 cost from our deck. Sure. Let's get Rashida on server 2. Now we have 6 clicks, so we might as well go give them the Q back special. Trash 2 cards. That's enough. They have 2 tags. Send them a rocket. Good game. Ooh, I was 1 credit short last turn. Yeah, we were 1 credit short there. Then breaking the border control did it. But that's the second kind of kill combo this deck can do. So if you have the Mad in hand, you can technically do a turn faster as long as you have the requisite 8 credits, or you need 8 credits and another way is to do with the Drago turn, which we could have done. Good game. Fast games too, huh? I think we might try one more. All right, we're against Adam Optimizer, who's playing some Padma, might see some boat. Our opening hand has no economy, some good ice, but we have 2 agendas. We have 7 agendas in the deck. We're not really good at scoring these. So we're going to go ahead and mulligan this. We want to open up with an Austerity, a Rashida, an Extract, which gives us flexibility because then we can trash 2 costers to go get our Austerities. And we want to try and combo them off. So far, we haven't seen a boat hit the table. I think every person we played against has been a boat deck tonight. Let's mulligan. That's pretty good. If we get the regolith down to, and we use all the money off of it, it becomes an MC Austerity, which is quite nice. We do have some reasons to ice up R&D sooner than later because of the Padma ability, but hopefully we can go fast enough that that doesn't matter too much. Border control is definitely what you want on the remote server. If we install, click this, border control, it's probably good enough. Server 1, this is probably good enough for R&D. We can also just click for a credit, which gives them less information. If we res this, it's the same as clicking for a credit. Yeah, I don't think we mind. The question is like whether this paints a bigger target on its back than if you don't res it. I think if you don't res it, you think it's a Rashida. You're happy if they score like a 3-2 agenda. That's nonsense. Or like a launch campaign also technically makes sense in this deck. Dirty Laundry. HQ's wide open. We're going R&D. Padma's ability. It's the first time each turn. So it gets used right here, even if you don't have anything to power counter. It's not like the once per turn. It's the first time. So Dirty Laundry off the top. They know our top card. 8 credits. I don't think a lot of these Padma decks are running like Boomerang or anything like that. So a lot of times they will have to have a breaker. Running HQ here, there's 2 trashables. They get a boom, feels good. We do have the Spin Doctor, but that's a card we need to keep in our hand for a combo deck. So that aggression is going to pay off pretty well. And they know we have a hedge fund. I'm pretty tempted just to hit this regolith down to 3. Again, R&D has 7 agendas still in it, but 3 of them require a program to be trashed. So once we get this down to 3 credits left on it, that means next time we click it, it can become an austerity policy, which is quite nice. So we can hit it, we can make an austerity policy, hit the austerity policy, and then ice up server 1 again, hopefully an end the run code gate or a Stavka. Because we have some pretty good like ice that's good in the early to mid game, but not particularly taxing as the game goes longer. And as the game goes longer, our win rate plummets. Hitting R&D, I assume? Yeah. Dirty Laundry off the top. Fair bit of trashables in the deck. There's our Drago. So that's actually one of the combos down. We have to get that back in our deck if we want an austerity policy. And we have our Rashida. Still think we're just going to ice this thing up. 17 credits, like they haven't drawn too much. So I don't know what the breaker is. They might just throw down an endurance and run this. I think we're going to have to ice up R&D just so the endurance doesn't get out of hand. So we're going to hit this. Install 1 coster, yeah. Austerity. Server 1. We'll hit it. So, and I think we're going to ice up R&D. I'm pretty sure we're going to lose the MC austerity policy, but the cool thing is that you can trigger the border control and then like make it an enigma. So it forces 2 kinds of breakers. It's actually really cool. You don't mind using the border controls like for tempo, as opposed to like setting up a Doom remote for the late game. That's a border control. We're going to get a credit back. They don't have a way to break that. So we'll see what the breaker is. A self-modifying code is just not enough because we can always trash this for Enigma. Admittedly, we'll have an Enigma next turn, which isn't great. And Adam hasn't been drawing up a lot. So I don't know if they have what they need. Pad tap. Okay, and they only have a 3-click turn, mind you. We have a Mad in hand, but I think Boom is something we definitely need in our hand. We have 2 and 39. We can't combo out without the Boom. Like we just need a way to capitalize on the tags. But Pad tap is going to be annoying. We're not going to trash this. Okay, we have the Enigma. That's a bit annoying. I think the only other 3 cost and the run we have in the deck is, let me check. I think it's a Maskarovka, which is another barrier. So you generally don't want that. You want to keep this in your deck. That's actually pretty funny. So we'll put this in a new remote, draw 2. We're trying to find a Boom. Oh, that's good. We're definitely going to hit this. And I think we're just going to ice up again, server 1. We're going to just hope that the Boom survives 1 and 5. Because next turn we have the kill combo. If they don't trash the MC austerity policy or trash the Boom or cause us to lose a lot of credit somehow, we have a combo next turn. Because we can click this. I think we have it. Because this needs 2 breakers. I don't think a SMC can get through this unless they have like a Mayfly. And then we can always end the run with the border control. I'm actually liking Enigma. A wild thing with the deck building this is you generally want to have ice at different costs. Like border control into a 3 cost is really important. I think 2 cost is where this deck really falls apart. There's just not a lot of good Weyland or neutral 2 cost ice. It's like Formicary, Owl. I think there's one more. I think the best you can get is like Thimble Rig or IP block, but then you're spending influence. So I do like the Enigma. You don't see this a lot in Weyland decks modernly. It's just good that you have a border control you can pop into Enigma. That's quite nice. So let's see. SMC getting cracked here. Looks like it's a Unity coming down. So the border control is definitely going to end the run. But here at least you can save your click by not hitting the lose the credit. Sorry, click loss subroutine. So Firewall is going to fire end the run. So they have 1 shot in 5 to hit the Boom from HQ. Come on. Hedge fund sick. I think we have it. That should be it. We have exactly 4 cards rezzed. We don't need that many. Oh, second Boom off the top. Okay. Imagine they trash that. We top deck the Boom. So lose a click. Trash. Install a 0 cost. Might as well. We'll get a Rashida in server 1. We have 5 clicks, which is just enough to hit the mutually assured destruction. Let's destroy everything. You only need to destroy 2. And then hit him with the Boom. Good game. This is the Ob kill combo Boom boat deck. So far been pretty reliable. We've been going really fast, but it's like very easy to tech this out. I think a pinhole threading is absolutely disastrous. Any sort of like meat damage protection, keeping to 7 cards in hand with like stone chip sharp room or whatever it's called. There's ways around this for sure, but I think pinhole threading is such an issue. We just haven't seen a lot of it today. Pinhole threading looking like a hell of a card, huh? Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back trying to release regular videos throughout the next couple weeks, just to go through all the cards that we have in this set. This has been really fun so far. Hope you're liking it. Cheers.